Happy Earth Day, everybody. I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with a weekly garden tour. Here in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, we are having a relatively annoying but typical weather system in which temperatures have dropped. We are going down to 39 degrees, which is of course not the temperatures that your summer vegetables want to experience. And though it brings me no happiness, it does make me feel satisfied in that my general paranoia about late frost, even though we aren't having a frost, still temperatures in the low 40s and upper 30s is exactly what causes long-term disease problems in your summer vegetables. So if you've been following my directions, tonight will be a really good night to bring those plants inside, either into your house or into a shed where they can stay a bit warmer. That will really help reduce some of the issues that you might experience 6 to 8 weeks from now. But without further ado, let me turn the camera around so that you can see the gardens. Well, starting here in the native border, you could see these poppies started last week. The crimson clover is looking great. There's lots of Schultzia. Now, where we burned a few weeks ago, you can see a lot of damage on those poppies. So again, we won't be burning in March and April anymore. We'll be burning in December, January, February. Good lesson to learn. But overall, I'm actually really pleased with how these native borders are looking, even though it's predominantly non-natives that are putting on the show. When these all come out, the natives will really reveal themselves, and well, I think actually I can't say these beds are a failure, and well, that feels good to be able to say. Well, as you can see, I had to go in and put on more clothes. I had to put on a coat of gloves on because it's really cold out. This is insane. Although it's so normal, and it's precisely why I get so frustrated when I see garden centers and people trying to skip spring and start summer too early, because this weather is exactly what will cause all of your trouble down the line. And well, I just wish more people would take my advice. So as you can see behind me, the cottage border is really starting to look great. It is predominantly Bachelor Buttons, but I still think it looks nice. The addition of the Phlomis fruticosa here is really nice, and you know, looking through this view with the weeping hackberry is just kind of, this is the scene that I'm always aiming towards every fall when I'm sowing the seeds, and it's very satisfying when it comes true. So it is great to see there is some color diversity in the Bachelor Buttons, though they're mostly blue. There's some pinks and purples. There are poppies that are coming along, but they're a lot smaller than I would like them to be. And of course, I made the huge mistake of looking at past years, and this isn't my best display, but it's always a good learning experience. Making sure next year I will not let this be dominated by one species, because it looks so much more interesting when, you know, there's poppies and larkspur and everything else kind of filling in naturally together. But I do really like the clumps of grains. They aren't as pronounced as I'd like them to be because, again, the Bachelor Buttons kind of took over everything. But this awnless wheat is really quite interesting, and it's great in cut flower arrangements. And here we have the very first crinum blooms of the year. They are so beautiful. And obviously I haven't done any renovations. I haven't been home. I'm actually heading to the airport in like a half an hour. I'm not going to be home at all this week. So just trying to get a quick garden tour made to post for all of you. This is unfortunately not a time of year where I really get to enjoy the garden because I'm really busy. And the wave, again, not my favorite display. I thought that it would be really cool to have a bunch of different things in here. And you can see we've got, you know, the clumps of rye that are starting to bloom. The self-sown oats are looking nice. And to be honest, I just think it would look a lot better if the whole thing was just solid oats. The diversity in this bed, maybe it'll look better once these poppies start to bloom. But overall, I just don't like the irregularity. I prefer this to be kind of more of a monoculture of just spring grains. And so in the future, that's precisely what I'm gonna do. And you can really see there's a big height difference here, and that's just because these trees are putting out a lot more shade. You know, when I first started planting this border, it was full sun, and it is not full sun anymore. And it's also much drier because of the trees. And also we've just had a dry season. But you live and learn each year, and well, just taking note so that next year it can look a little bit more interesting. Well, here under the live oak, you can really see that Carex cherokeensis is in bloom, and it looks so good. I love those flowers, how they dangle. I've actually got self-sewn foxgloves in here in the deep shade. And well, it's looking pretty lush and full considering how shady this section is. And as we come around the north side of the house, see the native Tradescantia is starting to bloom. And we've still got some late flowers on the always amazing Camellia japonica October Affair. These flowers are so beautiful. I'm amazed that it is still blooming this late, and I really appreciate it. There's a few flowers still left on Royal Velvet, and of course the Chinese fringe tree is starting to fade a bit now, but gosh, it sure did put on a gorgeous show this year. Well, this certainly is a pleasant surprise to see Blatilla striata alba in full bloom. I didn't actually even know that I had this planted here. I need to go ahead and thin some of this sedum out so that the Blatilla doesn't get overrun. I had a lot of weeding to do in this area. Of course, like I mentioned, nothing's getting done this week. So just have to wait for another day. The Camellia japonica Jax continues to put on great blooms. And I'm definitely encouraged to see that the Excel lilac is flushing out nice with new growth. Hopefully next year that will actually bloom again. And I didn't lose the plant entirely, which was something I was afraid of last year. Well, just so you can see, I do practice what I preach. I'm bringing in tomatoes. These are ones I bought from the market. That early container of trial tomatoes. And, well, it's just what has to happen when the weather is annoying. And the weather is annoying. Well, everybody, I'm going to end the tour here, and I will post the backyard tomorrow since I'm in a bit of a time crunch. But I do hope that this video will be an inspiration for you. I do want to say, if you have tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, summer vegetables in pots, it may be worth the effort to bring them inside tonight. I have done this too many times. This is year 23 in North Carolina. It's super easy to get ahead of yourself and collect those summer vegetables, but a night like tonight may be the difference between success and failure. And it won't happen immediately. It'll be like 6 to 8 weeks delayed. But I hate to say it, but like, mark my words, this cold weather that we're experiencing right now will impact your summer vegetables. And this is why I'm always saying, like, don't skip spring, don't start summer stuff too early, because straight up the soil temperature is too cold. Yesterday we had like a drizzly cold rain all day long. That makes the soil temperatures plummet. And you know, if you've been following my directions and have been putting those kinds of summer things in pots, this is your opportunity to completely eliminate this dysfunctional cycle of disease problems. So just bring them inside for the night. The rest of the forecast is looking pretty reliably warm. I will say we've had a lot of years where we've had sudden temperature drops just like this one as late as the middle of May. So don't get too confident yet. I promise that I'm here to continue giving you good, well-seasoned advice because it's what I do. And I want you to know, like, I'm not trying to set you up to fail. I'm actually trying to combat a lot of the bad information that is circulated online, and also really is perpetuated by garden centers whose business is to sell plants, and they don't always think about the reality of the season. So I do hope you'll tune in tomorrow as I show you everything that's blooming in the backyard, and I'm wishing you all the best on this Earth Day. Thanks so much for watching.